Good morning. Happy day 132 of the 365 day vlog challenge. Regular work day. However, today is a little different. As you may know, if you watched yesterday's vlog, if you're watching this in order, yesterday was our first day of the Kauffman FastTrac entrepreneurship program in conjunction with Broward County Economic Development Office. So, excuse me, I don't know what's going on with my throat. Stand by. So, moving forward for at minimum the next 16 weeks, the vlogs are going to be centered around my building this business. So, uh-oh, the police got somebody jammed up. Yeah, so if you're not interested in entrepreneurship, business building, or any of that, or you just don't care about it, you can skip the next couple weeks if you want. There'll be some regular life thrown in between, but it's going to be heavily focused. Oh, the sun is sunning. These sunglasses give me the false sense of security, thinking it's not that sunny out. It is, even though it's behind me. So anyway, yeah, the vlogs will be entirely centered around this class, building this content studio business, and that sort of thing. So that's the disclaimer moving forward for the foreseeable future of the channel as we're building this business out. So I gave a very quick debrief last night, like 2 seconds, right? A 2-second debrief is what it felt like. So now that we have time on our morning commute, I think I can manage. I hate talking to you with the sunglasses. I feel like a douche. So a couple things that I took from the class. And this is in no particular order. I didn't write no notes, so this is just off the top of my head. I should have wrote notes. I'll be better prepared the next time, promise. Just some bullet points, just so I don't forget anything. So the young lady, well, the grown woman that spoke, like I said, she is the current economic development director for Deerfield Beach. But her expertise lies in, she's built and sold several businesses, as well as mentored and or assisted in either turning a business around or helping entrepreneurs start, grow, scale businesses, right? I know her last name was, I'll put it on the screen because I can't remember. I don't want to mess her name up. But some of the key things that I took away from her sharing was early in her journey, she had a young child and she was dealing with a sick parent. So she was being a caregiver. She had a young child. She had to leave the country to help her dad with his businesses, because he had several businesses and they were failing, essentially, I guess, because his health had took a turn. So one of the first key things that she said that struck a chord with me, because we get this idea in our head that I just want this small operation, I just want it to be small and manageable. My idea was not to scale this to like $1 trillion business or anything like that. I just wanted this to be like a small mom and pop shop, local, community-based business. But was something that she said, if you fail to scale your business, you take a chance and risk of losing everything. That was me paraphrasing it. Like, if you don't scale, it's a good chance that you could lose everything. So we'll unpack that at a later date. But that was eye-opening to me, because it reframed my thinking about what this business is going to be and what it could be. and not getting trapped in small thinking, or not even small thinking, but just limiting myself and limiting the business for the potential that it could have, because I just, for comfort. That's basically what it boils down to. So that was one of the first things I took away. Oh, come on, girl, go through that light so we can get it. Another thing that she shared, hold on. Not so much that she did share. One of the questions that came from another entrepreneur was about, resources. Small businesses, that's one of our biggest hurdles, is getting the funding, getting the financing. Two other people also have mentioned that they're a little bit further along in their journey than I am, but their biggest hurdle right now is getting financing for their business to scale. Even if they're not like scaling from 100,000 to $1 million, they're trying to scale from, doing this out of the back of your car kind of thing, and like becoming not legitimate, but you get the gist. But like going from bootstrapping it to actually getting funding so that they can pop. So some of the things that one came from her and one actually came from another student, completely separate from this questioning. From her, it was like, okay, don't always look at resources as direct financial resources. It could be connections that actually help you in the long run, more so than the actual money, and partnerships. So one of the guys, as part of another business, he gave his story of like how he got started and just kind of like some backstory on his life. And he mentioned that his dad was a tailor, and that, while he was an excellent tailor, he wasn't the, I'm not saying he said this, but from what I took from it, he wasn't the best businessman, as far as like he didn't make enough to sustain the family. But what he did do was he was excellent at bartering his services. So, we've gotten away from looking at things. We've gotten away of looking at things in a way where it's not just like money exchange hands. Sometimes it's, I can do your marketing for you if you can, lease me some, let me use some space, or, you know what I mean? Like, we have to get back to that, barter system of, what services or what resources do I have that you need, that you could use, and then what do you have that I need that I could use? Where it's not always like, oh, I need, can you give me $1,000 for this, or I can sell you some services. It's not always that. So his answer, not his answer, but his testimonial also kind of brought that to the forefront. Like, you have to think outside of the box sometimes when it comes to things that you need. One of the ladies, she's an educator, and she's in the education space, and I didn't get to tell her last night because I wanted to grab this other young lady as she was leaving to give her. She had made a comment, but I don't think she said it out of her mouth. But as far as like she's trying to reach her target market. And I'm like, you already work with your target market. Not target market, but one key factor of your marketing, your market, you already are working with. Like, they're in the same industry as you. So why not tap into that, something that you already have? So I was like, yo, I grabbed her real quick because she had made a comment about helping, older contractors with their permits. And I was like, well, why wouldn't you market to them, like, directly? Because they already have the same need that you're trying to market to other people. I think you're looking at the homeowner and the businesses, not the actual other contractors. So I gave her that little nugget. Like, that came to me, but I didn't want to disrupt the class, so I just grabbed her as she was leaving and just was like, hey, you said something that I thought was key, but I don't think you realized that you answered your own question, basically. So just being in just last night's class, like, it already showed me like how valuable just being in the room with these 19 other entrepreneurs and just getting downloaded from these subject matter experts that they're bringing in to talk to us. So circle back to the gentleman that shared about his dad and bartering things. There was another lady in the class that she's in education, and she was mentioning, that she's trying to get funding for tablets and things like that, and for her students, so she's not always having to use her own personal items. And it brought to my thinking, like, well, there's a ton of organizations that already have, like, libraries have computers there. It's a lot of social services types. There's a lot of organizations that have tablets and things like that you could meet in the community, that you could tap into those type of resources and see if you could do like a cohort thing at these different community centers that already have what you need there, as far as like tablets or computers that the kids could use, and you wouldn't necessarily need to purchase that equipment. So it would be a win-win for you, and it would be a win-win for, it would be the win for the community center. It'd be a win to bring programming there that supports what they're already doing in the community. And then it's also a win for you, that you don't have to outlay that huge expense of buying computers or tablets and upkeeping those items or getting them lost or things like that. So I want to grab her, or I may message her if I can remember her name. So those were some key things that I took away from the class last night. Let me think, is there anything else? This clip is super long, so I am not going to be editing this clip. You're going to get it just as it is with my ums and all, because we almost 13 minutes in. So let me stop it, but I'm sorry. Okay, so another takeaway that the young lady shared, the subject matter expert shared, was about key partnerships. Like, community is so important for especially entrepreneurs and small business owners. Like, this is like a lonely journey, because your family, the people closest to you, really are not going to get it. Typically, unless they're business owners themselves, they're not going to understand what you're going through. They're not going to understand like what the sacrifice, why you're sacrificing the way you are, and whether it's time, energy, money, whatever it is. We coming to a stop, y'all. That's okay. I'm early, so I got plenty of time. But she highlighted just how important community is, just not only because, like I said, this is a lonely journey, but also there's also resources in that, and mentorship and key partnerships, and masterminding. So what did I say? Unintentionally, me and my little business buddies, we have created our own little mastermind. It's more of a support group, but we're also help each other when we have an idea and we just need to workshop that idea to be like, okay, what do you guys think? We're in completely different lanes. Like, one is in therapy, one is in education, childhood development, and then of course me with the content. So even though we're in completely different lanes, we have completely different life experience, this entrepreneurial journey experience. There's overlaps, and it actually helps that we're in completely different lanes, because not because of competition, but because you're so focused on your thing that sometimes you can't see around the corner, or you can't see it from a different perspective. I think that's the best way to explain it. Like, it's so many instances that since we've been having our meetings and meeting up, that, you know, I may have a thought, or one of them may have a thought of doing something a certain kind of way, and then one of us will chime in and be like, well, have you thought of this? Or maybe you should consider this. And it's like, hey, you know, like, so simple, like such a simple concept that you may not actually think of. And it's just like, why didn't that even come to me? Or why didn't I even think of that? Because it would be like, that's the next natural progression, or that would have made the most sense, you know what I mean, in doing that. But because you almost have blinders on, where you can't see other possibilities, because you know, you're focused. Anywho, so that was one thing. Also putting yourself, which we know I've been trying to do because I'm an introvert, putting yourself in the rooms that can help you, you know, not so much that you're putting yourself in that room for just that sole purpose, because you should also, when you're in these rooms, yes, there may be you may be in a room where you're like, you feel vastly underqualified to be in. There's always an exchange. She didn't say this, but this is my take on it. Yes, you need to put yourself in those rooms to be part of those conversations. One, for networking, so that, you know, people do business with people. So, you know, it's like, okay, I know you, John. I know John does this. You know, my company needs this. Or I know a friend has told me their company needs this. I'm going to think of John, like, oh, John has a landscape business. Let me let him know, like, oh, they need people for this small job. And, you know, his company is small and growing, but he could do it. So not only for the networking opportunity, but for the download. Like, there's always going to be an exchange of whether it's information, whether it's energy, whether it's, you know, motivation. Like, when you're in these rooms, you're not just there to take, you're also there to give something. And whether you know it or not, it could just be, you know, positivity. I mean, just to keep it simple, like, you just don't know what people are going through, and just maybe meeting you in that moment in this room, you couldn't pour into them with your business savvy, but you poured into them with your life, if that makes sense. I hope that wasn't too cerebral, but, you know, tangent. And we got time today. So, yeah. And I think, is that it? Coincidentally, there is, okay, so on to the next thing. Same topic. In the room last night, there is another entrepreneur with my same name. It's spelled completely different, but we're in this very similar niche, like the content niche. It seems to me like she's going at it from more of a marketing and like a marketing agency. I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like she's going that way with it, versus I'm doing it as almost like space arbitrage, where it's like, I really just want to be the facilitator of the space, not necessarily helping you market your business, but giving you the tool to be able to create the content. But I feel like, from what I gathered, I feel like her thing is more like as a hands-on kind of thing, like helping you with your marketing. So I could be completely wrong, but I think that was the gist of what she's doing. Oh, y'all, come on now. So, but I thought that was so funny that we're in a very similar space. But I also think she is trying to create like a content situation, like community, but I think she's coming at it from a different angle. I could be, like I said, I could be off base from what I took from what she said, but yeah, I just thought that was fun that, like, she was like, yes, and my name is also Janae, and I'm like, hey girl, hey. I have met 2 Janaes and they both call themselves J. In the last 2 months. I don't even, was that this month that I went to the that women's luncheon? That was this month. That was in May. That was before I went on my trip. Yeah. So in the same month, I've met 2 Janaes that call themselves J, and they both are into digital marketing. They're both graphic designers. Both seem like dope ass chicks. I just thought that was so funny. So coincidence, you know, whatever. Dang, I'm thirsty. Oh, I made my first green smoothie in months and months and months. Back to the resources conversation. So especially if you're dealing with trying to do government contracting, and a lot of small businesses don't also realize that you don't have to go to the federal government to get a contract. Like, you know, I work for a local city government, but what they were talking about was like going to your local city government and bidding for, you know, as a small business, bidding on those small jobs. A lot of cities, you know, their whole goal is to help local small businesses. If you're in your city, you know, if you live in the city especially, or if you have a business in the city, or you're building a business in the city, go to your economic development department. Like, go to permitting, ask questions. Like, we're public servants, we're there to answer your questions. Like, it's our whole job. Like, it's to help our residents and businesses. Like, that is my job description, to help, right? So, sir, okay, I'm coming over. So make sure that you're, you know, I don't want to say you know that, but yeah, you understand that your community has resources for you. It may not be money, but it could be information. It could be connecting you to different organizations. Like, we had a lot of people. I was surprised in the rooms that I've been in that so many people in these classes didn't even know, like, about SCORE Broward that's here. There's completely free resources. You could get a mentor for your business for free. Like, they can mentor you. They can, you know, connect you with other resources to show you where grants are. Like, it's so many resources that are there to help you. Urban League of Broward County. There's another organization. Dang, I can't think of the name of it. SCORE, Urban League, and there's one other. I can't think of the other name right now. But like, these are free resources that are abundant. Like, it may not be money, but it's mentorship. It's information. It's networking. There's classes, courses. Like, a lot of the classes I took was with SCORE. And it's for the level of entrepreneurs that I've run into, like, that they didn't even know that these things exist. Like, this is a simple Google search. SBA. Once you go to the SBA, they have a resources link, and that'll show you what's in your local area. The small business, I think it's Small Business Association. I don't know if that's correct. That sounds wrong. Dang, this traffic is wild today. But anyway, so that's that, the resource thing. And they were saying, like, oh, some cities, I didn't know this. I don't know, because if you work for government, local government, there's nothing that's secret. Like, everything is public information. So if you want to know, you can ask the question. You don't have to send in a document to ask a question. You can literally call on the phone and ask the question. And if they don't know it, or if it's something that's going to take long, then it becomes like, okay, a records request, where it's like, okay, you asking for documents. But if you're just asking a simple question, like, oh, I can't think of just a simple question, but if you asking a simple question, you can ask anything. Now, if you want to get information on your competitors in that local town, I would say put in a records request. But it's free information. It's not a secret. They can't not give it to you. It's illegal. So that's some information. If you didn't know, now you know. And if you have more questions about that, you can ask me directly in the comment or question, that information about permits. So which I knew this. I don't know if because I work for the city, but I don't work in permitting or nothing like that. But she gave the subject matter expert, I hate that I keep saying that, but the speaker, she gave this example of this guy who came to that city where she worked. I don't know if it was her city, but he was opening a tattoo shop, went, got a lease, built the space out, $40,000 to build out the space. She said it was beautiful. It looked like a museum in there. Come to find out, he did not pull a permit. He did not check the zoning. So that business was illegal to be there. He could not open the doors. This man has spent 40 racks, plus. You know, you just spent 40 racks and you couldn't even open the doors because they had a provision that you couldn't have, a zoning provision that two tattoo shops couldn't be within 1,000 feet of each other. So make sure that you do your due diligence with the city that you want to do business in, and you check the zoning laws in your area. Not just the city, but also check county too, just to make sure all your ducks is in a row before you spend any money on anything. Like, do your research. That was key, but like that's something that I knew about. Like that wasn't new news to me, but I felt it relevant to share. Relevant to share. Okay, I think that's everything. I can't think of anything else that was of note that I needed to share. I think that was everything. I mean, of course, this class was way more than that, but those were just some of the like key things that I took away from the class. Yeah. All right. I will talk to you later. Bye. Hi ladies, how are you? I'm all right. All right, we'll do. It's my favorite. Should I get in the same thing? I'm good. How are you? Yes. 954. Oh, okay. We're done. We are done for the day. Good news is I was able to work on my school project. Well, my cohort projects, school, whatever. During my lunch break. Bad news is I did not take my walk today. So, but it's a happy Thursday. I'm going to make myself pull out my trusty dusty walking pad when I get home, and we're going to do a minimum of 30 minutes on the walking pad. Pinky promise. To you and to me. I stopped at Ideal Nutrition and picked me and Jose up some dinner. I'm not sure what he fixed. I think he did some kind of ground chicken this morning, but I think that was for him to take the lunch today. So I was like, let me just get some dinner. I have got to figure out what meal prep is going to look like next week so I can buy some groceries, because Shabu, Jose, he did good keeping himself afloat while I was away. However, the weather, we need some groceries. some real groceries. Today, like I said, regular work day. Nothing crazy happened other than, you know, during my lunch break I did work on that cohort and got through the whole first set of the module. There's like, I think 3 or 4 parts to the first module. So I got through one whole first part, the first part of the module. Yeah. Okay. Oh shit, I meant to call my aunt. I'm gonna call you back. All right, I made it home. I had took my shoes off, and then I remembered I pinky promised that we gonna walk on this trail, on this walking pad. So first of all, I gotta open the walking pad. Well, not open it. I gotta get it from its hiding place behind that mirror. And I guess I'll do it right here where we standing. Okay, hold on. Lord, don't let no lizards or nothing be back there, because you know I'm gonna act a fool. I've been talking to you this whole time and you wasn't even on. I was nervous because I was worried if it was gonna be a lizard back there where my treadmill was. Dang, this thing is heavy. I'm struggling. Fighting for my life, nigga. Not the couch in the way or the table in the way, but God almighty. Finally. Whew, hold on. We're in business now. Oh, Jesus. I need a break from setting the thing up. Help me, Lord. All right, let's start our timer. All right, we're going to do 30 minutes. It's starting now. We'll be back. Why my business buddy just called me? I forgot I was supposed to be on a Zoom call with them. Look at me. I'm in here on the treadmill. I'm about got half naked. I got to do better. I'm getting back on the treadmill, finish watching my show. Oh no. I've been on there for almost 13 minutes. All right, I'll be back. I have done all the things. It's about 9 o'clock now. I did do the 30 minutes. Then my brother called while I was finishing up. So he talked me through the rest. I think I had about 7 minutes when he called left on the walk. So he kept me company while I finished my walk. And I just kind of gave him like all of the notes that I gave you this morning from what my class was yesterday. What else happened? Oh, I ate dinner. I ate that meal I got from Ideal Nutrition. And that's pretty much it. You know, just got myself prepared to go to bed and got my little satin line bonnet from Grace Eleye. Not sponsored, but they're very nice. Expensive, but nice. I only buy when they're on the buy one, get one free. So I'm getting ready to sit here and edit this video down so I can post it for day 132 of the 365 day vlog challenge. Tomorrow, I'm just going to go check on Aunt Lainey. Spend some time with her. I do need to put a grocery order in tonight, but she has not responded. So I might just wait and do it tomorrow. I don't know. I'll see what Jose say. But we need groceries. I got like Struggle Buzz food. There's cereal and stuff like that here. Eggs, you know, the usual accoutrement. But yeah, I got time because tomorrow's just Friday. So we are going to definitely meal prep. I'm going to get my sous chef Jose in the kitchen because I'm not doing it all by myself. My plate is overflowing. So he going to have to activate again. He does a good job when I'm not here, but I'm gonna need him to help me more. So, what else? I think that's pretty much it. So, yeah, like I said, tomorrow I'm just gonna be working on my Kauffman Foundation stuff. So, you know, on my off days, that's what this new life is, working on the business plan, you know, just refining that so that by the end of this thing, we have some tangibles to get boots to ground. So I think I'm going to leave you with that. Yeah. All right. Good night.